It was an ordinary afternoon when a 69-year-old woman in Tennessee sat down for her monthly routine of checking her bank balance. Let's call her Carol. She had always been careful with money, paying her bills on time and keeping a healthy cushion in her checking account. 2 years earlier, she'd added her son to the account so he could help out when her arthritis made trips to the bank hard. But this day, something was very wrong. Her life savings, $44,000, were gone. Not stolen by a hacker or a stranger. The money had been legally withdrawn by the very person whose name she'd added to the account. When she called the bank in a panic, the answer was cold. There was nothing they could do. Under the account agreement she'd signed, her son had every legal right to take every dollar. Carol's story is far more common than most people think, and it plays out in families all over the country. The warning almost always comes after the money is already gone. I'm Hank, and this is Hank USA. If you're new here, please give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Every week, I break down real, practical financial information for seniors. Rule changes, benefits you might qualify for, and steps you can take to protect yourself. You don't want to miss it. Now, let's get into it. If you share a bank account with anyone, a spouse, a parent, an adult child, or a trusted sibling, there are 3 things about that account you need to understand. They aren't brand new laws. They're long-standing legal realities of how joint accounts work. Realities most people never learn until it's too late, because banks don't sit you down and explain them, and the account agreement you signed years ago is written in fine print almost no one reads. Here's why your bank will probably never start this conversation. For them, joint accounts are about convenience and simplicity. Every dollar in that account is insured, accessible, and earning the bank potential fees. No matter who takes it out, they have very little incentive to spell out the harsh reality of what equal legal ownership actually means. And that equal ownership is causing families real, devastating losses. According to AARP, older Americans lose an estimated $28 billion a year to financial exploitation. Here's the part that surprises people. About 72% of those losses don't come from strangers. They come from someone the victim knew and trusted, a family member, a caregiver, a close friend. Regulators who track this have documented tens of thousands of these cases, and the losses per family often run into the tens of thousands of dollars. These aren't faceless criminals overseas. In many cases, their name is already on the account. That leads to the first thing you have to understand, because this is where it goes wrong. When you add someone to a joint account, you are not adding a helper or an authorized user. You are creating a co-owner. The moment their signature is on that document, they legally own all the money in that account, just as you do. Not 50%, not their half. All of it. Each co-owner has equal, fully independent legal access to every dollar. Banks frame this as a feature. The pitch sounds like, if something happens to you, your loved one can get to the money without delay. What they don't explain are the legal consequences that ride along with that convenience. Consequences that don't care about emergencies, grief, or good intentions. The most common version follows a familiar sad pattern. An elderly parent adds an adult child to the checking account to help with bills, maybe during a health scare. The parent doesn't think of it as giving away their money. The teller doesn't describe it that way. But under banking law, in the fine print of the account agreement, that is exactly what happened. And that legal distinction is what makes the 3 dangers I'm about to walk through so serious. The first danger is the survivorship clause. Pay close attention because this is the one that can quietly erase plans you've already put in writing, like a will. Most joint accounts in the US are set up as joint tenancy with right of survivorship, or JTWROS. That means when one account holder dies, the surviving account holder automatically gets the entire balance. The money skips probate court. It transfers by operation of law the moment the death is confirmed. Here's a situation that happens thousands of times a year. A parent has 3 adult children and a will that clearly says the estate should be split equally among all 3. But only one of those children is on the parent's joint bank account. When the parent dies, that one child receives 100% of the money in the account. The other 2 have no legal claim to it. The will says one thing, the account agreement says another, and the account agreement wins. Your will offers no defense against your joint account's terms. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has flagged this as a growing cause of bitter estate disputes. What makes it worse is that banks are allowed to update their account agreements over time, and they only have to notify you in writing, usually buried in a thick envelope of fine print most people toss. You didn't sign the new version, but you're bound by it. So whether your main asset is a single checking account or you have a full estate plan, the survivorship clause can reach in and override your wishes at the account level. That's the first danger. The second danger is creditor access. And this one surprises people even more because nobody has to die for it to happen. Under joint account law, a co-owner's personal creditors can go after the entire balance in a shared account. That feels wrong because we instinctively think of it as our money. You earned it, you deposited it, you saved it, but joint account law doesn't work that way. The other account holder's creditors can legally treat the full balance as an asset belonging to their debtor. Consider a woman named Patricia, a 67-year-old retired nurse from Knoxville. After her husband passed, her adult son convinced her to add him to her checking account to help manage her finances. Patricia deposited her pension, her Social Security, and a lifetime of careful savings into that one account. What she didn't know was that her son had entered a business partnership that failed. When his former partner won a civil judgment against him, the creditor went straight to Patricia's joint account and placed a garnishment on nearly $60,000. Patricia had done nothing wrong. In every practical sense, that money was hers. But because of the joint tenancy structure, her son's creditor had the same legal access to those funds as they did to his own assets. The garnishment went through before Patricia could move the money. The legal fight to challenge it dragged on for 8 months, and in the end, she recovered only part of her savings. The IRS plays by the same rules for tax debt. Under Title 26 of the U.S. Code, the IRS can levy a joint account to satisfy the tax liability of just one of the co-owners. Civil judgment creditors and the IRS both have legal pathways to the funds in a joint account, even if only one owner ever contributed. This is also where Medicaid planning gets complicated. If you or a spouse ever need to apply for Medicaid for long-term care, the government does a look-back, often 5 years into your finances, checking for transfers that might look like hiding assets to qualify. A joint account complicates this badly. All the money in it can be counted as belonging to both owners, even if only one person ever put a dime in. Families who added a child to an account for convenience can face penalties, delays, or even disqualification right when they need coverage most. The bottom line? Every dollar in that joint account is exposed if your co-owner has any unresolved debt, judgments, or tax issues. The larger your balance, the bigger the target. That's the second danger. So do something right now. Open your bank's website and look at the account summary. Check every name on every joint account you have. Don't go by memory, look at the actual account. For each name, ask yourself one question. Do I know the current status of this person's debts and financial liabilities? Your exposure depends on the answer. Now, the third danger is the one that catches people who think they've done everything else right. It's the main reason I made this video. The third danger is the exploitation blind spot. By definition, a co-owner on a joint account has authorized legal access. So when that co-owner starts making unusual withdrawals, the bank's fraud detection doesn't flag it the way it would an outside threat. To the system, the transaction looks perfectly legitimate because legally it is. The exploitation is invisible to the bank until the balance is already at zero. And afterward, disputing it is extremely hard. Because both parties have equal legal ownership, the bank can simply point to the co-owner's legal right to the money as a complete defense. In many cases, there's little the other owner can do to claw it back. Remember, about 70% of elder financial exploitation is carried out by a known and trusted person. And this is exactly the blind spot that lets it happen. There's another version that targets married couples, and it's becoming more common. A husband and wife share a joint checking account for decades. They trust each other completely. But later in life, one spouse starts showing early signs of memory loss or cognitive decline. Around that time, a scammer calls, pretending to be from the bank's fraud department. The scammer creates panic, claiming the account is compromised and the money must be moved to a safe new account immediately. The spouse with memory issues, trying to do the right thing, follows the instructions and transfers a large sum before anyone else knows what's happening. Because it was a joint account, the other spouse had a legal right to that money, but no idea the call was even happening and no chance to stop it. The bank had no reason to flag the transfer because an authorized owner approved it. Scammers have gotten sophisticated, spoofing caller ID and even mimicking familiar voices. Put it together, authorized access that fraud systems don't flag, plus faster moving scams, and joint account holders face a real risk. That's the third danger. So here's what you do about it. 5 steps you can start this week. Step 1. Request the current account agreement in writing. Call your bank's customer service line and ask for the current joint account agreement for every account you share. Not the one you signed years ago, the one in effect today. Get it and read the survivorship clause specifically. Step 2. Compare that survivorship clause to your will. Take both documents to an estate attorney. At minimum, look up your state's legal aid office or search your state bar association's website for a licensed estate attorney near you. A lot of people discover this exact conflict for the first time during this step. A short consultation can clear up in an hour what could otherwise cause years of family conflict. As always, verify legal matters with a qualified professional. Step 3. Ask your bank about alternatives, starting with a durable power of attorney. Giving a durable power of attorney to a trusted person lets them act for you financially, but it does not transfer ownership of your money. They can pay bills and manage your banking, but the money stays entirely yours. It's protected from their creditors, and it passes according to your will, not automatically to whoever's on the account. Another strong option is a payable on death, or POD designation. It lets you name a beneficiary who receives the account funds immediately when you die, skipping probate, but gives that person zero access or ownership while you're alive. That one change solves a lot of what we've covered. Your beneficiary gets the money quickly after you pass, but can't touch it, misuse it, or expose it to their own financial troubles while you're living. Step 4. Set up a limited access buffer account. For genuine convenience, keep a joint account, but with only a modest balance, enough for 30 to 60 days of expenses. Keep your primary savings in an individual account with a transfer on death
or TOD, or POD designation naming your heirs directly. This separates convenience from exposure. Your co-owner can still help with day-to-day needs, but your core savings stay out of their reach and out of the reach of their creditors. Step 5. Look up your state's garnishment exemption rules. Go to your state attorney general's website and search Joint Account Garnishment Exemption Rules.
Some states offer partial or full protection for funds that come from sources like Social Security or a pension, even in a joint account. Knowing your state's rules before a creditor moves can be the difference between keeping those funds and losing them. This step costs nothing, and most people never take it. 2 more things worth doing. First, ask your bank about a trusted contact designation. This is not someone who can touch your money. It's simply a person the bank is authorized to contact if they spot unusual activity or red flags on your account. It's a free, extra layer of protection that doesn't change ownership. Ask whether your bank offers it. And second, the one habit that catches what everything else misses. Check your own statements every single month, not once a quarter. Banks are required to flag certain suspicious activity, but the line between a normal withdrawal and a problem is often invisible to them. A family member pulling out small amounts of cash regularly won't trigger a fraud alert. The only person who can spot that pattern early is you, just by glancing at your statement, knowing what should be coming in and going out, and asking questions the moment something feels off. That one habit is the ultimate safety net. It costs nothing and takes a few minutes. The account you open for convenience may not work the way you assume. The survivorship clause can override your will. Your co-owner's creditors have a path to your entire balance. And because a co-owner's access is legal, bad actors can move before anyone can stop them. None of this required you to sign a new form, and none of it came with a warning you were likely to read. So please, take these 5 steps, starting this week, before something or someone else decides the timing for you. This has been Hank with Hank USA. If this helped, give it a like, subscribe, and share it with a family member or friend who shares a bank account with someone. It could save them everything. I'll see you in the next one.